Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. How's it going? Welcome to the Pull List Show. Um, this is a show I used to do before we went on lockdown, when I could get comics normally. And then we stopped getting comics for a little bit. And I stopped doing the show and I forgot about it. And this week, I this week it had been 3 weeks since I went to Titan Comics, which is where I get most of my independent comics. And I ended up having, well, I bought a lot of stuff, and you'll see. So this was a big week, and I was like, well, what better way to, I don't know, get through my comics than by showing people everything I got this week. So this week, even though this is the pull list show for the week of April 28th, which is when comics come out, unless you're DC Comics, then you came out on the 27th. We're also gonna have some comics that belong to a few weeks behind. So like maybe a couple, like at most 2 weeks behind. So let's go ahead and if you're familiar with my unboxing videos, we have the comics cam. Here's a trusty kickstand or book stand that I got from Titan Comics. Thank you, Jeremy. But before that, let me show you guys this. You might have seen this in the background of a stream I did with What the Show about Mortal Kombat. This piece, oh jeez, here, let's see if that works. I commissioned an art piece by my buddy Jay Dickinson, and I'll put all her information below. There we go. So this is an original. I got it because Mortal Kombat was coming, so I'll just leave that in the background. So hit her up. She does amazing art, and she's amazing to work with. All right, so back to the task at hand. I think this is about the right spot. Let's go through and look at what the comics I bought. I don't have all the, because we're looking at a big pile of comics and you can kind of see it. Whoops. Back here, it's a tall stack of comics. So I don't have the names of all the creators and everybody that worked on the books, but I will credit anything I've read because I'll tell you a little bit about it, like a mini review of everything I have read from this pile. So let's start with Marvel Comics. I picked up Silk #2. Cindy Moon is back and better than ever. Then I picked up the Maria Wolf cover of Woman of Marvel. This book actually came out last week, but Maria Wolf is an artist that I follow on Instagram. She is Mexican, which was one of the things that led me to finding her art very interesting. Because it's interesting to see. I always love supporting creators from Mexico because it's cool to see them branch out and break into the world of comics. And I hadn't been able to get her cover until this week. Next up, Darth Vader 11. This book is still being written by Greg Pak. I love this run of Darth Vader. I'm a little behind, but the first arc is amazing. The first arc deals with Vader's grief when it comes to Padme. Up next, another amazing book that I love, and this one's easy for me to credit because it's pretty much one guy doing most of it. Daniel Warren Johnson is doing a Beta Ray Bill miniseries after the events of, I guess it was the Thor arc, the first arc of Thor. Yeah, it was the first arc of Thor. The status quo has changed for Beta Ray Bill. Slight spoiler: he has lost his hammer. So that really changes things. Here, one of my favorite books, and I can't believe I haven't read it. But look at that amazing cover. This is New Mutants by Vita Ayala and Rodriguez. Vita's writing some of my favorite books at the moment. Their writing is just really on par, like just really hits all those spots that I like. Uh, this is a new arc after the events of Ten of Swords, so you can jump in there. Yeah, their work is amazing, and Rod Reese's art also amazing. Here we have Cable number 10. Cable's series is almost over. Unfortunately, it will be coming to an end. I call the event because it's as you can see, Strife and older Cable and young cool Cable. I'm calling it Crisis in Infinite Cables. That's definitely not what's happening, but there's a lot of cables in the book. But this series will come to an end at issue 12. I believe for those of you that watch the I Read, that listen to the I Read Comic Books podcast, this was my buddy Mike's pick, and I definitely agree. And then don't forget, if you go to your comic shop, pick up your official guide for the Hellfire Saga, where you can get sneak previews at all the outfits that everyone will be wearing to the gala. Um, in the summer. Here's just a quick preview. Oh, look at Nightcrawler, looks very dashing. I love it. Um, so that's all the Marvel books I have for now. So let's put these aside somewhere where they don't fall and get damaged. And let's move on to DC Comics. I'm leaving the independent books till the end because I mean I'm kind of buying a lot of independent books now, anyways. So they really like I could do a whole thing for Image and Boom, which are some of the largest ones that I really buy. But for DC Comics, uh, Batman Superman, I've been buying this series since the beginning. I love the dynamic between Batman and Superman. I think you can tell really fun stories with the world's finest superheroes. Another book that's been pretty awesome, and I've only read the first one, Teen Titans Academy. Uh, if you watched our last episode live, I talked about Strange Academy, the school for the magic users in the Marvel universe. Well, this is the school for Teen Titans, but there's a lot. There's a mystery that was set up in, um, oh boy, what was the Future State? Yeah, in Future State, there was a mystery that was uh, put forward in the Future State Teen Titans with Red X, and this book is the one that's going to answer all those questions. Next up, and I have read this book, and it was pretty amazing. Robin number 1 by Joshua Williamson and Gleb Melnikov. Ooh, apologies if I butchered that name. This book was a lot of fun. I love. I'm a big fan of Damian Wayne. I know he's not the most popular dude, but I really enjoyed it. Um, and it came with this. I don't want to spoil the end, but it came with this really cool ad for a Future State Gotham book, starring Jason Todd, and I lost it. So, but back to this Robin book. Uh, let me tell you. So Robin has stopped wanting to be Robin under Batman, so he's left. He's off the grid, and let's just say Robin has gone to find the Mortal Kombat tournament. That's all I'll say about that book. It's really good. I really enjoy it. Joshua Williamson's writing some amazing stuff. Uh, Next up, one of my staples. This is I've been collecting Detective Comics. I don't know forever now. So this is Batman Detective Comics issue 1035. I'm a little behind on this one as well, but Mariko Tamaki and Dan Mora and Jordi Belaron's book, that's an amazing team. If you read their Dark Detective Future State book, you will know that it's an amazing team. Okay, I think that's all the DC books we have. So as you can see, Marvel and DC do not make up the bulk of this week. So let's just go through some of the independent comics. And these are in no particular publish order. These are just kind of like as I'm pulling them from my pile. First of all, Cyberpunk 2077. You have my word. From Dark Horse Comics. It's a miniseries, 4 issues. I do not play Cyberpunk. I have heard that there's a lot of issues with the game of Cyberpunk, but I love the aesthetic of Cyberpunk. So I find the comics really interesting in how they adapt that aesthetic. So I'm always gonna pick up these miniseries. Dark Horse is really good about just doing these properties that are tied to different media. Um, Next up, Helm Grey Castle #1. This one is from Image. Top Cow. Top Cow is a subdivision of Image Comics, pretty much. I have not read this book either, but I really enjoy picking up some of these Image #1s because you never know if it's gonna be good or whatever. So yeah, I love these, and the cover looked awesome. There's like fantasy and magic and an orc. One of my favorite things I picked up this week. This is actually from a couple weeks ago, I think. But Boom Studios has been doing these amazing foil covers for their books. And I've wanted to pick up the Many Deaths of Layla Starr for a while now. Let me see if I can. Let me see the. I'm trying to get you all a nice look at the foil. Whoa. Well, anyways, it's really shiny foil. You get it. So I love these books. I love foil covers. I'm a big sucker for that. Kid of the 90s, like foil's always going to get me. And I've heard that this book is also pretty good. So I can't wait to read it. I'm going to skip this one. For those of you guys that follow me on Twitter, I wrote a review for Home #1. I want to thank the creator, Julio Anta and Anna Weissik, Brian Valenza, and Hassan Letters. I want to thank them because they sent us an advanced copy to review. So it's always very much appreciated when creators give some of the smaller channels / podcasts, a little bit of something to play with, because we love reading comics. We definitely love reading comics in advance so we can talk about them and encourage people to go get them. If you haven't read this book, first of all, it's very timely. It deals with a family from Guatemala trying to get asylum in the U.S., and you definitely get a lot of what's going on in the current political climate. But it also has a comic book twist. As you can see, this is kind of a spoiler cover a little bit. So you do learn that our protagonist has some kind of ability. And that's all I'll say about that. That's all I'll tell you from the first issue. You can find my review on nextissuepodcast.com. So you can go check that there if you're interested. Next up, another one of the series that I'm just really enjoying. Haha #4. This is a Maxwell Prince book with a rotating artist. Every artist, there's a miniseries, and I believe at the end of the miniseries, the last issue will be tied into Maxwell Prince's Ice Cream Man, which I'm super enjoying. It's like these are kind of anthology, Twilight Zone-y, like Outer Limits type of stories, but they all center around a theme. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This one I picked out of a kind of a whim because I had known nothing about Kojakaru the Skinner, or what the Outerverse is. I am a big fan of Mike Mignola, so I'm definitely gonna pick up a #1 of a new book because I want to check out what Mike Mignola is up to. For those not in the know, Mike Mignola is the creator of Hellboy. He's an amazing artist. The reason I bought the 2016 Hellboy Steelbook was because it came with Mike Mignola art. The movie, I found that it was fun. I know a lot of people don't like it. I completely get it. It's all over the place. It's like they really try to cram, 3 volumes of comic in there. But I love the art, so I recommend. You could probably find that Steelbook at Best Buy. Next up, from one of my favorite writers, I think I call Cullen Bunn the uh, pitch hitter of comic book writing because he can really just kind of jump into any type of situation, and he's super reliable and delivers amazing stories. So this is a new book with Aftershock, Phantom on the Scan. Once again, I'm going completely blind into this book. I know nothing about it other than Cullen Bunn's writing it. So I'm very excited to check that out. I hope it's kind of a scary story. Cullen Bunn's really good at doing horror and things like that. Next up, from Valiant, this is the only Valiant thing on my list. Savage, number 3, by Max Bemis. And I believe Bemis is not only a writer, but he is somebody from one of the band. He's from a band. He's a singer. Sorry, I'm not. Music is definitely my weak point here. But anyway, Savage is a really cool book. Uh, this one's a lot more humorous than the original Savage series from Valiant from a few years ago, but I recommend reading them both. I definitely do. I think you'll enjoy it. If you like things like Turok or Primal from Tartakovsky's Cartoon Network series, or like just like Person at a Time, but this one's a lot more humorous because Savage is like an influencer, which I know, but they really make it work. They really make it work in this book. Next up, Radiant Black number 3. This is it's from Image Comics, by Cal Higgins and Marcelo Costa with Becca Curry. So this one, unfortunately, I didn't get the cover I wanted. This is it's just like a gag cover, like it's supposed to be funny. But this is kind of like a Power Rangers dark book. It's been really interesting. It's hard for me to explain what the book is without giving a bunch away. But if you like Power Rangers, but like with a little bit of a darker tone or twist, I think you'll enjoy this book. So go check it out from Image Comics. And Kyle Higgins is an amazing writer. So another book that I don't normally buy, Arthurian fantasy type of books, by Karen Gillan and Dan Mora, are two of my favorite creators when it comes to both writing and art. Tamara Van Vellen's colors are always on point. So from Boom Studios, this is Once and Future, number 18. I love this book too. It's a twist in Arthurian legend, and so if you are into any of that, and if you like anything from King Arthur and any of that mythology or history, as we may come to find out, yeah, this is really good. This continues to be really good. Volume 3 should be coming out soon, since we are. Oh, actually, I think they're doing 5-issue volumes, so this is probably going to be part of Volume 4. So I recommend you go check out the rest. All right, another book by another amazing creator, Crossover. This is issue number 6, which should wrap up the first arc if this is an ongoing book. I actually don't know if it's an ongoing book. It looks pretty finite in the cover, so maybe this is the end of the Crossover. This is by Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw with the Conifian colors. If you guys follow me on Twitter at all, or if you heard anything on the podcast, you know that Donny Cates is one of my favorite creators. And for this one, I did get a variant. I got the Savage Dragon variant because, of course, I'm going to get an Eric Larson Savage Dragon cover. That's not... I love how Image is not afraid to kind of like mix their properties in together. And Donny Cates, fellow kid of the 90s, like growing up, like I feel like we have a lot of the same sensibilities as far as like what we think is rad. And I think that's why I find his writing so appealing. So yeah, this is I'm 2 issues behind. We've had some really cool cameos with I'll say Image Comics characters. So I would not be surprised if these two actually show up in this book. Next up, for those that like something a little bit weirder, James Tynion delivers here with the Department of Truth This is issue number 8. The premise of this book: what if conspiracies were kind of real, and we needed a Men in Black type of organization to deal with them, to stop them from becoming real, or to stop them from happening or going wrong. So I love this book. James Tynion is amazing. One of my favorite writers. You'll see that I have more Tynion comics. Next up, Damn Cursed Children, number 4. We were lucky enough to have the creators come join us at the beginning of season 2 of the Next Issue podcast before we went live on video. So we don't have a video of that, but you can go back and listen to our episode with the creators of this book. I believe their names are Howard Wang and Josh Stafford. Yeah, Howard Wang and Josh Stafford, with art by Robin Simon. Here's a little preview of issue 4. The premise of this book: what if kids turned into little zombie type monsters that want to kill you, and what would happen? What would all the adults do? Okay, and this one is also from a few weeks ago, or last week, I believe. The Old Guard, Tales Through Time, Greg Rucka book. I'm a big fan of The Old Guard, both the movie and the comic. Initially the comic, so I definitely want to check this out. I do love that. So I got a lot of these independent comic books at Titan Comics in Dallas, Texas. Go check him out. Jeremy is an awesome dude. He'll get a pull list together for you. He'll recommend stuff to you. He throws in stuff in my pull list that I may not even know about, and he knows kind of what I like to read. And for some of their more mature books, they'll pre-bag and board them, so the kids aren't like walking around and maybe they take a peek at something that they shouldn't. So you'll see a few of those. Not that these are like super mature, but there's just probably not for kids. Speaking of that, here's another book that's bag and boarded. Maria Lovett's Luna number 3. Maria Lovett is an amazing creator. Her series Heartbeat was done by Boom Studios as well. So she also has another book with, Blaze Comics, I think. So definitely Google Maria Lovett and you'll find some quality comics. I haven't started reading Luna, but as soon as I saw that Maria was working on this, I added it to my pull list. There's a lot of books that I do that for, like where I will just buy it because the creator is somebody that I enjoy. I'm seeing some weird stuff on the feed. Anyways, next we have another book, bagged and boarded, so you know it's more mature, by Guillaume March, Carmen number 2. This one's about a woman who is visited by the personification of death, or maybe death. The personification of death. So what happens? Why would death come visit this person? Are they dead? Are they not? Are they showing them something? So yeah, I definitely recommend it. Guillaume March is doing both the writing and the art, and this book is beautiful. I bought this book originally just because I wanted the first cover, but then I read it. Well, not this issue, but the first issue. But then I read it and I was like, oh snap, this is really good. Next up, my pick of the week, especially if you listen to the I Read Comic Books podcast, this is what I picked when I was listening live to them. And another foil cover. This is Berserker number 2, and it's hard to see the name. There we go, Berserker number 2. This is a comic by Keanu Reeves. You heard it right, Keanu Reeves, the actor. Matt Kent, with art by Ron Garney and Bill Crabtree. Another foil cover from Boom, but that's not all, because you guys know I'm a sucker for variants, and I'm going to bring this up at the next live because Clay's going to kick out of it. Here we have another variant cover. Oh, these are harder to see. Let me see. Where's my light? I'm trying to see if I can show you guys a little bit better. There we go. That's not terrible. I'll try to get a better setup. Maybe I need to Well, the foil's hard to get on the camera, but yeah, Berserker number two. Um, think think like a character that's kind of like the Eternal Warrior or Wolverine. Uh, they're kind of like immortal, Vandal Savage, something like that. But what if that character works with the government, and what would they do? How would they be used? Uh, this I'm sure this book will eventually be a movie because Keanu Reeves is definitely writing it. So I can already see the wheels turning on everyone's head. Like, oh, this is definitely just a comic that is coming up for that. Now, this next book is very very special. At least I think it's very very special. This is Something is Killing the Children, number one, by James Tinian the Fourth, Werther Deldera, and Miguel Muerto. But this is the eighth printing of this comic. Most comics get a second, third, maybe fourth printing. This is the eighth printing of this comic. Not only that, you can't purchase this book. Well, at least not at Titan, like where I got it. You can't buy it. The only way you can get it is by purchasing either Berserker number one or two. So I'll talk about corporate synergy there with Boom Studios. So I got this for free for buying the comics that I just showed you before, the other two. And I was gonna buy Berserker anyways. And I love Something is Killing the Children, and I love this cover. So I was super excited to get a free comic. So check with your local comic book shops. Most of them will have a similar deal. Probably if Boom sent them comics. Titan Comics is it's a store that's been around the most, and I get a lot of my Marvel and DC books from Sanctuary Comics. Uh, but Titan just has so much more variety, and they have a lot of back issues. So I love going to see Jeremy and hanging out and checking out the store. The video you saw at the beginning of the stream, that was a hallway from Titan Comics. So yeah, go check it out. Go ask your bookstore, ask your comic book shop, like, hey, do you guys have that eighth printing and also a Berserker, so I can get two comics for the price of one. Next up, this is a hardcover. One of my favorite writer artist team. Uh, this is from the Reckless. If you read Reckless by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, this is another Reckless book. So it's the same character, Ethan Reckless. So this is the next story there, Friend of the Devil. Now, I hadn't been able to go pick this up until today, but I actually read this on Hoopla. I bought it. So if you don't have I believe $25 to buy this at the moment, you can borrow it from your local library with a Hoopla borrow. I definitely recommend that. This book is really good. And something really cool. I was able to get a little print that comes with the book, signed by both Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This is the second time I get something like that from them, and I really appreciate that they throw in a little bit of extra stuff with their hardcovers. You might have seen here. Let me put this up while I talk about this. For anyone that watches the Fatman Beyond podcast with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin, you might have seen Ed Brubaker on there recently. He talked a lot about how Marvel, Disney, whoever is in charge of all that stuff, they asked him because he was the one that he didn't create Bucky, obviously, but he was the one that created the character or the persona of the Winter Soldier. So, Kevin Smith asked him, like, are you watching the show? Are you watching Falcon Winter Soldier? And he said no. And he went on to tell us that his experience working, or I guess his experience after creating the character, has not been the best with Marvel. He had a great time working he made a cameo on the Winter Soldier. He said he's seen more money from that appearance on the Winter Soldier movie than any residuals from like his comics or whatever. So that kind of sucks. So I love, but But all that being said, he said he was always grateful that because he wrote that book and developed a fan base, he is now able to do books like this where they're fully creator owned and he can do whatever he wants. He can go at whatever pace he wants. We got another one of these coming in October of 2020, October of 2021. So yeah, go check these out. You can start with the Reckless book. You can pick this one up too. It's just like a crime story. So if you like crime, this one has a bit of a turn twist that I won't spoil, but it's just really good. And this same team wrote one of my favorite comics of last year, which was Pulp. They're all kind of based on criminal stories. So if you like crime stories in graphic form, I definitely recommend this. And then you can also support Ed Brubaker more than Marvel and Disney have. So, you can be better than the House of Mouse, which is something everybody should strive to be. The last one I picked up is Suicide Squad Bad Blood, the hardcover edition. This is a book by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. This collects the 11 issues of the Suicide Squad. I think it's all 11. I think it may be 1 through 11. Let's see. Well, now I don't know. But anyways, pick this up. There's some amazing characters in here. I love the group of ruffians that Tom Taylor put together for this book. And now you can read Tom Taylor on Nightwing, which is also amazing. All right. So we have that. We have DC. Also, at Titan Comics, I picked up some more books that are not really comics, but they kind of are. As I was telling my buddy, I was telling the Discord on IRCB, the I Read Comic Books Discord, I want to start tracking the anime or manga that I read by purchasing the first volume. I don't think I'll ever buy a full collection of manga, something that's old, something that I've read in the past, because it's really hard to find sometimes. But I do want to at least try to hunt down volume ones of things. So at Titan, Jeremy has a small manga section, so I was able to pick up a few volume ones that I was missing. The first one is the My Hero Academia Vigilantes. This takes place in the My Hero Academia world, but it follows like side characters that are not really enrolled in, like, they're not in school, they're not licensed heroes, but they still want to do good in the world of My Hero. Okay, next up, you guys recognize this, of course. Dragon Ball number 1, or volume 1. This is the Dragon Ball series. I love this manga. I haven't read the whole manga, but I've watched this series multiple times, both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Jeremy had a copy of this, so I had to grab it. And he also had a copy of Dragon Ball Z Volume 1, also by Akira Toriyama. Now, the cool thing about these, it's a little weird because, so originally we have the Dragon Ball manga, and anybody that read manga from the beginning, from whatever 86, I believe. Yeah, it has to be 86 because Dragon Ball is. Yep. So in 86, the manga came out. It eventually transitioned into what is Dragon Ball Z, but the manga remained just Dragon Ball. The name of it was Dragon Ball. Now, when the Dragon Ball Z, when the anime came out and they changed the name to Dragon Ball Z so it would feel a little fresher and different, they started reprinting the manga volumes at that spot where Dragon Ball ends and Dragon Ball Z begins, and they repackaged it as Dragon Ball Z manga. So this is actually, so you can get, like, I think there's 42 volumes of Dragon Ball that take you all the way through from Dragon Ball to the end of Dragon Ball Z, but they're all just say Dragon Ball. Or you can buy Dragon Ball and then pick up these Dragon Ball Z volumes, which is super interesting. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because the name is very recognizable now, the Dragon Ball Z name. Now, these I did not pick up today. but I want to show them off anyways, since I mentioned that I'm buying manga. If you want to know what manga I've read slash watched the anime of, here's a few things. Here's a few of my favorites that I found. Uh, Volume 1 of Full Metal Alchemist. I actually picked this one up at Barnes & Noble. They have a great manga selection. Next up, One Punch Man, Volume 1. Another fantastic series. You can watch most of it. You can watch season 1 and 2 on Hulu now. Or you can just go read the manga. The manga is amazing. It's really funny. Like, you would think it'd just be like superhero stuff and punching, and there's a lot of that, but it's just really about more like having fun. Next up, Attack on Titan Volume 1. I actually recently finished season 4, which is the last season, part 1. So I'm caught up. I can finally look on the internet and not get spoiled or not be afraid to get spoiled. It's really good. I love this. I love this anime. And once it's done, I'm gonna go back and read all the manga because why not? I love to see the differences. Another one, Fire Force Volume 1. If you were a fan of Soul Eater, I think you'll appreciate this much a lot. I think you'll appreciate this one a lot. It's by the same creator, as you can see here from the creator Soul Eater. I have like 15 volumes of this from a Humble Bundle digitally, but I wanted to pick up the first volume. I'm definitely also looking for Soul Eater. So if anybody has any leads, I don't want to just buy stuff on the internet. Like I want to find it and stumble into it in the store. So as we get back to hopefully normal, um, I'll uh, I'll look at different things and try to find it. And then one of my all-time favorites and classics, at least for me, Naruto Volume 1. This, like Dragon Ball, the whole thing is just called Naruto. There is no like Shippuden manga. It's just called Naruto. The Naruto Shippuden was only a time jump for the anime. So one thing I forgot to mention, and or maybe I didn't, but for Demon Slayer, I recently watched the Mugen Train movie, which is a movie that just came out in theaters. Highest grossing movie in Japan all time. It just beat Spirited Away recently last year when it was released. I love Demon Slayer. The movie's amazing. That's why I wanted to get the first volume. So you can now watch full season 1 on Hulu, and then or maybe Netflix, one of the two or both. And then the movie doesn't come out digitally until the 23rd of June, I believe. So keep an eye out for that. It covers a whole arc, and then we'll get season 2. So I really like the fact that they're doing like, a season, then a smaller arc adapted to a movie that's canon, as opposed to all the movies like we got a bunch of Dragon Ball Z movies that aren't canon. So yeah, go look for this. I think my favorite comic that I picked up today had to be this. I feel like this is special. I feel like this is something cool. This is something that not everyone has. I don't even want to check the value on eBay because I don't think I would get rid of this. Like this is just like a cool. It's a cool piece of comic book history. Like going into an 8th printing for an independent comic in today's comic book age. It's a very cool thing. At least in my opinion. And I love the cover. It looks amazing. Like I said, this is something you can't buy it. You have to go to a participating comic book shop, buy a different comic, and then they'll give you this for free. And they have to have some available. I mean, I guess you could buy it probably like in the in the secondary market or whatever. But I'm not a big fan of people reselling comic books that are so recent, because it's kind of like fake speculation and whatever. Like these things may appreciate in value, they may not. If they make a movie for this, maybe it'll go up in value. It may not. In the meanwhile, the person that really wanted to read it, they won't get to read it because somebody went and bought out all the whole comic book shop just to resell it. But that's a topic for another day. We may cover that on the podcast. Who knows? Okay. I think that's going to be it for tonight. That's all the comics I have. That's all the books I bought. As you can see, there was a big week. I'll do more of these pull list live episodes, or I'll start doing a more regular cadence of the pull list show. I might do it every 2 weeks or so to try to keep up. Like, I don't normally buy 30 books in 1 week. But this was like I said, I hadn't been to one of the shops in 3 weeks. I had only been getting my Marvel and DC stuff. So that was it. This is pretty much everything I got for the month of April that's independent. Support your local comic book shops. They're amazing. Let me know what was your favorite thing. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Did I miss out on getting anything from the shop? So yeah, I hope you guys had a good time. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody that jumped in on the chat at any point, watched live for a minute. I really appreciate that. I think that's gonna be it. So let me show you guys again a quick video of Titan, so you can appreciate. There we go. And a little bit of Baron Zemo dancing, because we love that. All right. Well, until next time, thanks for everybody for watching. Share, like, subscribe. We are at 110 subscribers, and that's amazing. I can't believe that the channel just keeps growing. I hope people are enjoying our content. This week we put out a bunch of things. I did a trailer reaction for Yasuke, which I'm gonna go finish now on Netflix because that was amazing. We did an unboxing for Torpedo Comics. Once again, something really cool. Thanks to everybody that's watched my Demon Slayer Mugen Train review. That video is about to break a bunch of views. We don't normally get that many views, but so I appreciate that. And then we also caught a glimpse of Sweet Tooth on Netflix by Jeff Lemire, coming to Netflix in June, I believe. So definitely a reason for me to keep both Netflix for at least 2 months now that I got it back. Anyways, I'll be back with some more live stuff. I still have. Let me go back to the comic cam. Still have some of these left. I got a bunch of like 6 more boxes to open or something like that. So I'll do that on the live. I also have some Flesh and Blood, the trading card game. I got a box of the first pack and the second pack. So if you're a fan of trading card games, come back and check that out. And like I said, I'll do more of this stuff, the pull list, and yeah, I think that's about it. Join us on Sunday. We'll be going live, the whole crew, not just me, so you can actually hear other people talking. So until next time, thanks for watching and keep reading comics. Bye-bye.